Welcome to this Knowledge Forum 2021. I'm Susan Ross. I'm the Advisor-in-Chief of the Knowledge Advisory Services Center. It's my great pleasure to broadcast to you today this three-day event from Manila. We have over 2,300 participants from all over the world, but especially from our member countries in Asia and the Pacific. We have 24 different sessions ahead of us here, and we have one key message, and that is we need knowledge management to solve the big global development problems that we have and we are facing in the world. And with that, it is my great pleasure now to invite our Vice President for Knowledge Management and Sustainable Development, Bambang Sustantano, to provide us with his opening remarks and to set the context for this very special event.
Thank you very much, Suzanne. Honorable guests, colleagues, and friends, a very good morning, afternoon, and evening to all of you. Over the past 2 decades, knowledge management has grown to become one of ADB's most prized assets. It has evolved from being transactional, like counting knowledge products and services, to being a core tenet of what we do. It is transformational, dynamic, and focuses on the benefits we can offer our clients. ADB First Knowledge Forum was held in 2018, bringing our staff and many external partners together. There, we discussed how knowledge can be leveraged to enhance our status as a trusted partner in development finance. We also reviewed the progress we made in modernizing the transactional aspect of knowledge management, like centralizing access to ADB content, keeping our information technology infrastructure up to date, and finding new ways to disseminate knowledge. Now, 3 years later, we meet again, but this time in a world that has changed so much, a world amidst crisis. We must effectively handle the COVID-19 pandemic and critically climate change. This crisis helps us better understand how vital knowledge management is for balancing the trade-off in policymaking. We must respond to the pandemic while always looking at our region's long-term development needs. This crisis also shows how crucial it is to collaborate beyond borders to create solutions to local, national, regional, and global problems. This week's second Knowledge Forum, we could say, is being held at a time when effective knowledge management has become more critical than ever. Rising to this challenge, we launched in March 2021 ADB's Knowledge Management Action Plan, or we call it KMAP, for 2021 to 2025, formulated around the 3 pillars of people and culture, processes and system, and relationship. The 25 strategic actions will help transform ADB from a knowledge bank to a full-fledged knowledge solutions provider. In this virtual setting, this year's Knowledge Forum offers many exciting events over the coming 3 days. The plenary sessions, insight talks, and other sessions will provide new ways to think about how knowledge management can succeed in making our organization more effective in development. Our plenary sessions in particular will deepen our understanding of ADB Strategy 2030 and how its implementation will achieve positive impacts on climate change, gender equity, as well as green, resilient, inclusive, and sustainable recovery. So let me just mention a few of exciting events in our forum lineup. Dr. Maya Sankar, the Global Director of Behavioral Economics, will talk to us about how behavioral economics allowed big outcomes to evolve from small changes in the Obama White House. We also have UNESCO Futures Studio to share with us how foresight and futures thinking matter for development organizations. We have Dr. Ed Hoffman, NASA's former Chief of Knowledge Management Office. Dr. Hoffman will explain how collaborations and partnerships, especially with the private sector, enable NASA to send reconnaissance missions to the farthest reaches of outer space. We are also looking forward to meeting with the Prime Minister of Samoa, the World Health Organization Chief Scientist, and the former UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. They will, with our ADB President, President Massa, discuss the importance of international collaborations and how to spread knowledge across borders. We also have influential economists such as Dr. Mariana Mazzucato, who will speak about the need for new state capabilities, and CEOs will share their insights on the power of equality and diversity in business. All these conversations underscore the need for continuous learning and the need to learn from the past experience, both positive and negative. They will highlight just how ADB is leading the way in knowledge management. Our theme this year is very clear: learning through change. As the COVID-19 crisis shook the world, it is also challenging ADB to become a knowledge solution provider for Asia and the Pacific. Learning through change means, in broader terms, developing timely solutions that fit new situations or responds to persistent challenges. Such learning directly contributes to building greater resilience. Responding quickly to prevent further damage translates into greater agility, particularly for the most vulnerable. As an organization, we want to be both resilient and agile to support our member countries. And as this pandemic continues to play out, we have seen millions of people lose jobs. Many businesses have been forced to shut down, and more people, especially women and children, fell back into the poverty they only recently escaped. It was a rude awakening. We learned the hard way that our system and our development progress remain all too fragile. Resilience is key when confronting uncertainty, and knowledge management will play a critical role in ensuring the pandemic recovery will be resilient as well as green, inclusive, and sustainable. So let me share my thought on 5 essential points for learning through change. First, it requires greater collaborations. This means crossing physical boundaries and strengthening partnership with stakeholders. The crisis calls on us to adopt a holistic, global approach to recovery. The pandemic is teaching us that despite physical barriers, we can learn better by sharing experiences, knowledge, and ideas among people, even in cyberspace. Our ADB Southeast Asia Regional Department demonstrated this very well when they launched PACER, or the Policy Action for COVID-19 Recovery Dialogues. PACER has brought policy experts from around the region and the world to share cutting-edge knowledge and best practices. The focus is on how countries could better recover from the pandemic and accelerate knowledge cooperation, particularly when it comes to the vulnerable and the poor. PACER's Compendium of Policy Brief was published in June 2021 with highlights of discussions, recommendations, and actions that can be taken by Southeast Asian countries and the People's Republic of China. The benefits, however, reach much greater than these countries because they offer valuable lessons for other regions to learn from. Second, learning through change means that investment in physical infrastructure should be digitally smart and climate resilient. We must assist countries get ready for greater regional and global convergence, data governance, and cooperation on knowledge. Knowledge sharing is also data-driven, so we must strengthen our clients' ability to swiftly but safely share information with their counterparts across the world, especially during and after disasters. During the forum, we will hear how the Republic of Korea responded to the pandemic based on what it learned from the SARS and MERS disease outbreak. Transparency and communications are key. There is a strong case for us to support building information technology, knowledge sharing, and governance structures that help our developing members strengthen their knowledge management capability. This is what I call building forward better. Third, learning through change requires anticipating future uncertainty. To this end, ADB has established a futures thinking and capacity development program for policymakers and staff. Futures thinking means combining current data and informations, different worldviews, and narrative from all stakeholders to help transform our future. It also requires humanizing knowledge to create better solutions. Evidence-based policymaking does not stop at data or numbers. We need data that illustrates stories about people who face real problems. It could be Lin Lin, for example, from the People's Republic of China who lost her job as a toll booth collector because of automations, which the pandemic accelerated. Or there is Namita a third-year college student from India who had to stand on a slanted roof to attend her school online just to get usable Wi-Fi. Or think of Sveta, a girl from the mountains in Nepal who sleeps outside her house when she has menstruations. These individual stories give us better context to retrieve and use information, memory, and experience to confront new situations. Crucially, this brings people to the center of our recovery efforts. Fourth, learning through change means a greater focus on governance. During the pandemic, we have seen cities at the front line of every country's pandemic response. At ADB, we want to help strengthen local government resilience to better handle shocks and vulnerability. When we publish our Livable City Guidance Notes, which includes ways to deal with the pandemic in crowded environments, many local governments use it as a framework to manage their COVID-19 relief operations. In the long run, cities will have to manage their accumulated knowledge in disaster response to navigate future risks and uncertainties. And to do this, they will need strong knowledge management capabilities. Fifth and the last is that learning through change means focusing on greening economies. When COVID-19 struck, the sharp reduction in global CO2 emissions by 6.4% or 2.3 billion tons in 2020 promised a cause for celebrations. Sadly, however, it was just an eye-opener. As economies started to reopen, global emissions have picked up and are expected to rise by about 5% this year. Another cause for alarm is that directing economic stimulus to green policies has so far been too low down on the priority list for many governments. In fact, according to the Vivid Economics Greenness of Stimulus Index, only 28% of the announced $17.2 trillion in global stimulus will go to sectors that mitigate climate change or are environmentally friendly. Just before the pandemic in 2019, ADB launched the ASEAN Catalytic Green Finance Facility to provide knowledge support through technical assistance and make more than $1 billion in loans available for green infrastructure investment. Technical assistance projects that go with green financing facilities like this must be built upon the new knowledge and experience we accumulated throughout this pandemic. Knowledge management is key to this important process. Our recovery from the lasting effect of this pandemic will not be easy, but through knowledge sharing, collaborations, and partnership, we can create a better future together. Knowledge management is at the heart of learning through change, but it must be supported by robust infrastructure, agile processes, sound governance, and a culture that breaks silos. With this thought, I welcome you all to the 2021 Knowledge Forum and wish you will be enriched by the activities we have lined up during this 3-day conference. Thank you very much, and please stay safe and healthy. Back to you, Suzanne.
Thank you very much, VP, for these wonderful opening remarks, which really set the scene for the next 3 days. And I think it shows the leadership commitment we have. And of course, you as our biggest champion from among all our vice presidents, championing knowledge management, what it means for us to use knowledge to transform the organization and knowledge management, but also to serve our member countries a lot better. So we are very, very proud of these next 3 days, and we hope you all engage with us.